So welcome back to project development operations or new business development activities. We're talking today about different project development and operations aspects compared to existing textbook definitions of what should be in a new business development plan and what are examples of new business development. And we're going to show several videos of real entrepreneurs or project managers presenting their projects to other people for potential investment. I believe several of you have already reviewed some of those details, which is good. We'll talk about that soon. You have, again, all of my contact information here. I've seen some of you have already started to contact me and link with me in LinkedIn and in Facebook. Great. There are different TAs that we can talk with. I just wanted to remind you again, the overall course objective is not set by me, although I have been teaching this topic for many years to many students, and I haven't had a problem with any students. They're people in the United Kingdom that can ultimately decide if people pass or fail, and these reports that you're making, I am a guide going through them and sending them on to the United Kingdom. So in addition to that, we went through and we talked about what are some other interesting business projects. And then we went through the idea of what is a business plan. In my 20 years of working with this teaching and in my many years of owning my own business and running my own business and advising several other businesses, my summary of many textbooks is that a business plan is the questions and answers to 100 to 150 reasonable questions. The sooner you can answer these and you're still happy, the sooner you should start. And so we went through, we showed the biggest thing that I found textbooks and students seem to miss is that entrepreneurs get really excited about their product or service. They know lots of details about their item, but they end up talking and focusing on those small details, and they forget that the customer just wants to know what is the general product. And so you must make sure what exactly is your product or service and why somebody would use yours, not the alternative that they may have been using for the last 10 years or 20 years. I'm going to get into the textbook definitions now. We've gone through last class. We talked about the general textbook definition. So I'm going to go through this quickly today. But before I start talking a lot about what is the textbook description of a business plan, and then I'm going to show you what the business plan actually looks like. Let me show you that stuff. So this gray area here, I'll make it a little bit bigger, easier to see. So the gray area at the top, that is from a textbook. And what I'm showing on my screen now, this is all a real business plan. So I'm showing you a textbook definition or a textbook description, and then a real example of a business plan. Then we're going to have a break and actually get you guys to review your Shark Tank, other examples of business plans through Shark Tank videos, and then share that with the class. Try to present those ideas yourselves to the class, and imagine that the class is a group of potential investors or customers. Find out what the investors are worried about or what they're thinking about, what's good or what's bad. All of this is just an exercise to stretch your mind to think about many different aspects of business development. So I've introduced most of what we'll be doing today. Any questions?
No, it's clear.
Okay, everybody else?
Clear.
That's two.
No question.
2 out of 14 people participating today. I'm not going to get even 25% of the class. Can I get a few more people? How about 2 or 3 more people ask questions. I want to make sure what's in my mind is clear for you guys. And in addition to what we're talking about, simply just this presentation has been created over several years of doing this, but I don't know you. I don't know what exactly you're interested in. So the more you tell me about your interests, the more I can customize details for you. Could I get 2 more people just to give some comments or any questions? What did I have for breakfast? Or where was I born? Any questions, just to make sure that you guys are listening. How about Lynn? Lynn at the bottom. Any questions from you, Lynn?
Linh ạ.
No, sorry, I don't have any question.
Okay,
for
can
me.
you come up with any question just to get people active and engaged? What is one crazy question? What color shoes am I wearing? Anything.
I can't think any question right now. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, being an entrepreneur, you're going to have to be very creative. You're going to have to stretch your mind to be more resourceful. Trong Hyo Nung, I think you have a very big smile on your face. You look very confident. Something tells me you can come up with any questions like unicorns or elephants or whatever. Can you give me one question just to show everyone that we're supposed to do this together?
Who, me?
Sure, yes, you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just idea, Professor, please make us rich like people in the
Rich?
Shark Tank.
You want me to make you rich?
Yes.
Like Elon Musk, it's fine for me.
Well, I would say, let me see if I have a PPT related to that. I'm going to start showing you that. So
I think if you want to get rich, so try to make the business plan, your current business plan as good as you can, and you sell it to the company.
We have
you sell it to somebody else.
We have small business for now, but it's quite successful, but it's not very successful.
Okay.
So you can discuss
okay, I'll tell you one thing for the class success. Again, the assessors, there's people in the United Kingdom, they don't know you. They only know what was the requirement and what they're looking for to pass them. So don't tell them you already have a business and you're continuing it, because the requirement is it has to be a new business, a new product, a new service, or a new process. If the assessors, I worry, think that you're just continuing the same business with extra help or extra marketing, they might say it's not eligible for passing the requirement. So keep that a secret between you and me, and hopefully they don't watch our video. Let's share my screen now and show you a little bit more. I was asked, how can you be rich? And my answer is, rich depends on who you're talking to. Myself, rich is happiness and health. It's not money. I have been very, very lucky with many businesses and with very successful people and presidents and executives all around the world with many different countries. I have, been working with private jets flying me to work and stuff like that. The idea of money, in my opinion, creates a lot more stress. And so I think what is more important for you to be rich is to do what you love doing and keeps you happy. And I will explain why that's why that's important afterwards. So, Trump, can you please, after I finish explaining this, ask me, where's the money? Okay, so whatever business you're going to do, you need to align at least 3 things. And it's different. Many people in the world say, do what you love. Well, I think that's kind of stupid. That's kind of elementary. It's kind of naive. If you just do what you love, for example, let's say I love singing happy birthday, or I love singing Merry Christmas songs. but I am a terrible, terrible singer. So nobody's going to pay me for this. And the world doesn't want to hear me doing this, even though I love it. So you have to do what you have a passion for, do what you love, and do what you have skills for. And the third thing is you need to check the customers want it. Make sure there's a customer need. So that should be clear. The other aspect that I was talking with Trung about, where's the money? If you look at two different people and one person is doing their business plan really, really hard because they want to get rich, but they see it's just the job, and so they do it from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock and then they finish. Well, the other person, if they love it, like me, my job is a professor teaching international management and entrepreneurship, and my classes are on different days right now. Every other professor around me is basically at home relaxing, preparing for other class, but I still do another class because I love it. And so whether people paid me or not, I'd still keep doing it. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the character. So the first person is doing it just for money. He works hard and aggressive during the day, but at night he might talk about drinking, or at night he might talk about baseball or basketball or some other sports or some other hobby. But if you love what you're doing, like me, I do it all the time. What does that mean? That means that I will do almost as much as the other guy from 9 to 5 for 8 hours. But how many hours do you have in a week? That whole idea of how many hours you have in a day or week is kind of important. Let me try to show that again. Can you guys see this screen here? I'm trying to show this top green box. You have limited time. You only have 168 hours per week. That's everybody in the world. You have generally 40 hours at work and generally 56 hours sleeping, which means you have 72 hours left. And that's either to talk about your baseball or basketball or soccer or your sports, or if you love what you're doing, you keep talking about it, you keep learning about it, you keep hearing information from other people. And so the more you do it, the more experience you get, the better you get at it. That's number one. So do what you love and the money will come. That's number one. But the number two is when there's two people doing it, if you're only doing it for money, I have seen many times a customer comes in and a businessman is looking to make a lot of money, but they look at that customer, they think, you're just a dirty, poor customer. Don't waste my time. And the businessman wants to make a lot of money, but they're kind of rude to that customer because they think that customer that is wearing dirty clothes or an old car is poor. But it turned out, and I've seen it several times now, that person wearing dirty clothes. One time I went into a store with the guy that owned the jet that flew me around a lot. He was wearing an old t-shirt that was ripped, dirty shorts. He was wearing flip-flop shoes, and we were looking at cars. And the business company, they basically said, these cars are too expensive. Maybe you can go next door. There's a rental car. And that guy, wow, he was like crazy, crazy rich. So my point is, when you are doing something just for money, you might change your personality and be mean sometimes, or bad sometimes, or lazy sometimes. But if you do it just because you love it, maybe you'll talk to anybody and work with anybody because you love it. And you have a smile on your face. That smile is what will make you rich. If you're smiling while you're working, that generally is the biggest secret to getting rich. And whether it's the money or the happiness or whatever, I think that's the answer. Does that answer your question, John?
Yes. Yeah, I think exactly I want, and I think you rich also. Is you very rich.
I wish. My mother and father, they were very wealthy, but when I got accepted to university at 15 years old, I was going up to the cottage that I built for our family, And on the way back with my father basically said, Sean, how are you doing? And that's kind of strange. Usually my father never asks small chit chat like that. And so I think, is this a trick question? I'm okay. And he's like, really? You don't need money? He's like, well, no, I guess I'm okay. And then he said, you don't have any diseases or anything? I was like, no, I'm okay. It's like, good, because when you start university, you're cut off. You're not going to get another dime or dong or won or whatever. You're finished with money from the family. And so I was like, damn. So my family was wealthy, but I had to start all over on my own, and I grew to pretty good levels. And then I lost it because I made mistakes with managing investors, and I had to start all over again. We did again. Okay. Anyway, so no, I'm not Elon Musk, but I'm doing well. I'm okay. I'm happy. You guys are probably wealthier than me. I look forward to just sharing in experiences. Don't let me talk too much today. Can we get one more question before I start talking about boring textbook details?
Thank you,
Anybody?
Professor.
One more question. Be proactive, be entrepreneurial, take a chance. Dom, help me out. Pick some person, whoever you think is the quietest.
Sorry, did they call me?
I'll go ahead and do it. Maria, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Can you give any question? Can be related to project development and operations or new business development. It could be anything related to the class, anything. Just get the class being more involved. I don't want you guys to sit there for 36 hours and have some old man talking about something that was designed for other students when you know, and you should know, I can customize it for you guys. And most important, I have studied, I think, 17 years of university, not just 17 years overall, but 17 years of university. And the best education I've ever had came from a class where the executives meeting were sharing secrets together or sharing stories. That's what I want. I want you guys talking a lot. So just ask any question just to get people talking more today.
Could I take the chain, please?
Sorry?
Could I take the chain to have a question for now? It's second question.
Sure, but Maria, I'm coming back to you. You need to ask a question too. Go ahead. What's one?
Okay. Yeah, I just share my my life and my idea in the future, and please correct me if I have something wrong. And for example, for now, my family have a quite small dental clinic. Why? Because my wife is a dentist, and so we built a small clinic, dental clinic for her. And at the same time, first when I maybe it's some years ago or last year, I want to build my own company. And after I train a little bit, because for now I work in a financial company like you know, right? And become a vice director, and I train a little bit with the direction. I want to, because the company for now is built in Lithuania. That why? Because it's like the door to open the markets in the European markets and also in the world. And also we have a plan to in 5 years we will have a IPO in London stock markets. And because it's fintech, and that's why we want to increase the value in the London or in the New York stock markets. And it changed a little bit with my mind, because I think I want to buy the share of the company, and we work together with the director. And also the company is shared by some people. It's not only my. And so I think we can go farther than that's only I am CEO. And so please correct me if I have something wrong. And because based on your experience, you advisor for a lot of big company, and
now I'm afraid. Do we start recording or not? My answer, according to textbooks, they say 2 brains are better than 1 and 3 brains are better than 2. And so they say working with other people is usually a good thing. However, I am supposed to teach that, and I had investors before, and the investor basically went crazy and destroyed the business, not because of the business reasons. The investor wanted personal relationship with me. And when I got married to somebody else, the investor went crazy. Another time, I know that one of the most important parts of success for business are the people working it, so the staff. And I wanted to motivate my staff very well. And so several years ago, more than 10 years ago, when I was growing a business, the real estate businesses and the consulting business, I owned rental properties and I was doing consulting throughout Asia and North America. I had staff that were helping me. I had a Chinese staff helping me develop a lot with the factories and international trade with China. I had another person in the Middle East that was basically like an office manager and a secretarial manager. They were doing really, really good work. And I was afraid that maybe I wasn't paying them enough or they weren't happy enough. So I agreed to give them huge bonus. And it wasn't just cash. I agreed to buy a house in their name so that as I'm getting rich, they're getting rich too. But the problem was, after they actually started to see how they could get rich from these rental properties, they started arguing. I'm doing more work than the other staff, and the other staff was saying they're doing more work. They started fighting. They got greedy, and they weren't showing the proper accounting details and small things like that. So they started to destroy the whole business too. So you told me you're working for a company that might give you a little bit of ownership, or you're working for your wife in a dental clinic. I am prejudiced, and I'm probably not right, but I think developing your family business like the dental clinic is probably better for your retirement than working for some other big company. However, you could probably do both. Usually the companies, as I just finished showing you, only require you to work 40 hours a week. And even if you sleep properly and sleep lots, 8 hours a day, you still have 70 hours, which is more than a full-time job available. Like now, it's maybe free time. You could use this to develop your family business. And one of the very first big serious businesses I had, I was a medical doctor. I was supposed to be focusing on treating cancer patients, but I developed another clinic and another clinic because I could take care of all of my dental business quickly. Then I set up another dental clinic and another dental clinic, and I was able to take care of many things. Again, when you set up your business plan, try to set up your business plan so that you don't have to work there every day. Maybe your wife in her dental clinic could hire other people that are maybe less qualified or interns or something like that. And as they become legal, and they're not legal yet, your wife can work with them. But then as they get legal, maybe she can go and start another clinic and then another clinic. And eventually you might be able to own 20 different dental clinics, wherever. That type of thing, you helping your family, at least in the future, while it's still growing, it could keep giving you income. But, and the more it grows, the more you grow. That other business, I see employees as just workers in the rat race. So stay there, while it's safe, but continue to try to develop it while you can. And only after the other business is safer and better opportunities than the others, then you can switch. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I think it's precious.
few of you.
Yeah, I think it's like you advise. It's the good opportunity to explore. If I follow that's a traditional traditional mind, it's difficult to explore, and we don't have a big chance, and we don't have a opportunity to explore our
Okay, Maria, did you have a question, or do I see Voom? You have your video showing too. Do either of you have questions to get the class more involved before we start with textbook details? I see, Cam, you have your video on, and Maria, I started to ask you a question. Do either of you have questions? No, looks like Gam is kind of shaking her head and Maria is still hiding behind a blank video. Anmin, I see you're smiling. Do you have a question or comment for the class before we start boring textbook details?
Morning, Professor. I see that you are very successful in your career. So I would like to hear more about it, for the way you get successful in your career, and from that we can getting more experience for our career path also. Because I also, when I was a student, I also started business by myself, but I also failed, and I was started to go to school and start all over again by learning. And I see that everything that learning and doing before is kind of makes sense. So I think that listening to your experience is really kind of very interesting. And so maybe I can get experience to start all over again.
Well, yes, most research shows the most successful people have also failed at least once when they're growing. But that makes your mindset. Don't be a follower. Don't be a boring person that comes across a problem and then stop and go back and do something else. Try to find a way around the problem. Try to find a solution. If you fail, learn from that so you don't do it again. And you're better prepared than the other people. Me, I'm definitely not super rich. I'm definitely not Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. But my experience, I would say pretty easily, I've met a lot of people in the world. I've worked with 128 different countries. I could say I have more experience than 10 guys. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying I got a lot of experience. Why? Because in Korea, so many people, they just stay in school until maybe they're 30 years old before they get their first job. I started my first job when I was, I don't know, 6 years old. I have 4 kids now. I made one of my kids, he was 2 years old and he had a job. So I encourage you to start jobs, start extra ideas. And, you know, maybe the first one's going to fail, but you're going to learn from it. So try. Having your own business is definitely a good thing. Great. Maria, I do see you're back. Any comments from you before we get in?
No, I have no comment, but I just want to ask about the Facebook group that we have. So
Okay.
how could we get more benefit from this group? Because I just say that we just join in this group and follow some comments or some like articles or something sharing in this group. But how could we get benefits from this group?
Do you understand what guangxi is? The idea of networking with other people. I see, just relax, nobody needs to do anything, but I see there's Maria, I see there's Duong, I see Anmin, Gam, Latan, there's several people in this group. I am not the most valuable. The most valuable is your connection with all of you. You may be together for only 3 weeks for this class, in this class, but you should stay connected with these people forever, because maybe somebody is going to develop and be exactly what you need in the future. I have had that several times. So joining any activity to be able to network with others and develop your networking, your social capital is important. One of the most interesting research papers that has been created by very, very intelligent minds around the world, their research, they studied Some people say, what does it take to be successful? Somebody said, does it take money? No, it doesn't take money. Does it take education? No. Does it take brand name education? Like, do you have to be at Harvard? No. Does it take hard work? No, it's not just that. Does it take natural talent? No. There's many things they researched. And the one thing that led to the most success is social capital. Social capital generally means you have to have good networks with many people. So Facebook is just a way to connect with other people. And so you said there's posts, but that's not what you're supposed to focus on. That's the easy thing to focus on. Facebook, there are in our group many different posts from many different people. What I think is more valuable is the people, the members there. Get to know those members. Try to be friends with those members. Maybe those members will help you. Maybe those members are super successful at the dream you want to get. So try to network with as many people as possible. Develop those relationships. Don't just focus on the money. You guys can ask questions anytime. I'm going to get back into the class. We have started, I think we are recording, right? Duong? Yes, we are recording.
Yes, Professor,
So
we are
I
recording.
just want to remind you again, everybody has the same amount of time, 160 hours per week. Almost everybody works the regular type of job, Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, 9 to 5, generally about 40 hours per week. And if you sleep 8 hours a day, that's generally 56 hours sleeping. So you have a lot more time remaining. Don't waste that time. Use that time wisely. And I can help you plan how to use that time wisely. So that's kind of important. Let's get back into the review. The idea of what is a business plan. We've already talked about it's the story of what it is, what it will be. It's all of the costs, all of the marketing, the financing, estimation of earnings. It is what is required by most banks if you want a loan. It is absolutely required by investors. It is often required by very advanced executives that you want to work with you. And it should be your way to success. Again, the best business plans are plans that are systems that will work on their own without you. So develop one so it's successful, and then start developing another one and another one and another one. If one fails, no problem, you already have 7 or 8. So keep trying to develop something like that. Some of the best investors in the world, like Warren Buffett, he says, if you don't have a business plan where you're making money in your sleep, you will work until you die. What does that mean? Tianan, what do you think? What does that mean? If you do not have a business plan where you are making money in your sleep, then you will work until you die. And he goes on to talk about basically you're going to work forever. You're going to be grumpy forever.
I think basically that thing is about if you don't have plan, you will go around and around. Can you hear me?
I can hear you a little bit. Did you say if you don't have land?
Like if you don't have a plan, like you will only go around and around in a circle, and you can keep moving forward.
Oh, okay, good. That's a good idea. But where does the money come in? This is Warren Buffett talking about it, and he's talking about how you make money. So can anybody guess what does it mean to make money in your sleep? And it's true. I absolutely agree. If you're not making money in your sleep, you're going to have a hard life. I make money in my sleep.
I think is that the investment, isn't it, Professor?
Yes, a type of investment. So a lot of people follow other people. They do what other people do. And other people go to school, so they go to school. Look at the most successful business people in the world. They didn't finish school. So why? You're just following people. Other people, they say you have to do this because other people are doing this. Don't just follow people. Most people talk about the stock market. Well, in my opinion, I teach investments and I teach management. And if we were drinking at a bar, I would say stock investment sucks. It's terrible because it's just a sexy topic. The best investments to me are boring investments that nobody usually wants to talk about. It's real estate property that never changes. So it's not interesting. So CNN does not talk about boring things. BBC is not going to talk about boring things, but it keeps giving me money every month and it grows each year. But the stocks go up and down, and the stocks can be changed by other people or even the CEO, regardless of how good the product is. The CEO can change what happens to the stock. So you invest in an idea that it's like a juggling ball. So you can invest in the stock market. That could help you. If you have enough, then you just live off of the interest type of thing. My personal investment is rental properties and doing something that you love. So that's a good point. The whole idea of why do you need a business plan? Because most people are the sheep. Most people do what other people do, working for some other company because it's easier and it's no stress. But it's a little bit of stress every day for your whole life. If you have your own business, I promise you, there's going to be days that are really, really stressful. And maybe there's going to be months or maybe even years of stress. But eventually, after your business stabilizes, you're going to be able to have that financial freedom that other employees do not. So keep growing your system, develop your system. What are the components? The whole idea of cover page, mission, executive summary, company description, marketing plan, management plan, operations with financials, the appendix. The university says 3,000 words and 20 pages, but an appendix can be outside of that. If you have a lot more information, that's better. Don't have too much. If you have too much information, nobody's going to read it. But your core plan should be easy to understand, and you can link to other files that can explain it if they need more. So hopefully that's clear. Cover page, it's pretty clear. Make sure you have good contacts like LinkedIn in case you want to work with the world. Promote yourselves all the time. Executive summary. As we talked about with water companies, you may know lots about copper and zinc or things like that, but the customer doesn't care about that. They care mostly, is it water? Is it cold or not? Is it a decent price? And so make sure you talk about details that the customer wants. Make sure you talk about details that the investor wants. And then make sure you talk about things that the staff want. Of course, you need to talk about things that you want, but remember to think in that other person's view also. Mission statement, we've already gone through some of this stuff. I was talking about how culture is important. Did anybody go through that idea of culture, the MBTI? Anybody talk about that? I can just show a little bit about it. This is, did anybody? I can't see anybody's hand up. Tuong, I will appoint you if somebody's putting their hand up. I can't see the faces while I'm going through it, so you can pick somebody. This is the website for www.humanmetrics.com. And inside this website, it will show you that in the world, there's generally 16 different types of people, 16 different personalities. And it will ask you questions like this. You're almost never late for an appointment, yes or no? You would like to be engaged in fast-paced, active activities, yes or no? So there's about 50 or 60 questions. You answer these easy questions, and that shows what is your personality type. But it also shows what is your learning type. It also shows what is your communication type. It also shows how you can better connect with other people. I can go through and show you lots of different examples. For example, with me, I have this one file. If you talk to me about what is my personality, this file that you're looking at here is 68 pages. There's lots, and it's just websites describing that code. After I answered those 50 questions, the answers say my code is INTJ, and sometimes it says ENTJ. And so it says, I love to strategize, I hate inefficiency, I enjoy debate. And it goes on to talk about what kind of work I like, what stresses me, what can take the stress away, how I might be popular or rare. It shows a lot of surprising details. For example, I usually do not care very much about sharing feelings and chit chat about small things. I like to get to important things right away. So this is the internet saying this, and it's exactly right. I encourage you to go through it. And it also, there's several additional websites that will include things for you. For example, what animal matches your code? What learning style matches your code? So when we talk about the culture, did anybody try that yet? You have 36 hours together. Hopefully, some of you can try doing that as we move forward. So the company description, background, your track record, what is your resume? That is a good idea. Have you failed before? Sometimes people think that's a good thing. Some investors like that somebody else has gone bankrupt before because you've tried and you failed and you saw what doesn't work. So you can learn from it. You know that you need to try something different. The opportunity analysis, of course, very, very important in my opinion. The industry analysis, environmental analysis, competitive analysis. Get as much information about that as you can. Next, marketing. How are you going to go through, and we already talked about the 4 Ps: product, place, price, promotion. The promotional plans, advertising, public relations, publicity, direct marketing. Many people have already started to identify the old style of marketing is dead. The idea of paying a lot of money for a TV ad or paying a lot of money for an ad on the side of the highway, that is not as effective as online ads, social media ads. Getting somebody to make a video about you that can go viral could be free. All of you could get some high school or university group to take your business idea, and as a competition, you could give them an award if somebody comes up with a good marketing plan or marketing video. So you have many different students making videos for you, and you only have to give one award. That's a pretty good idea. Don't forget, it's not marketing where you like. It's supposed to be marketing where the customer likes and using the words the customer likes. We're going to talk about this over and over again, but can somebody explain, with viral marketing and online marketing and social media marketing, you must understand what are keywords and how to use those. So who's in the digital marketing group? Can one of you in the digital marketing group explain what is a keyword and why it is important? No comments?
I think I remember a group of you're right. The group is working on e-commerce, right?
Yes.
Digital marketing.
Yeah, I think it's a keyword of ours. It's a unique selling point.
Okay, can you explain what you understand about a keyword?
Okay, I explain that's what might we different with another competitor to attract the customer, because for now a lot of company open to e-commerce, and that's why when we build a business we should focus on unique selling point, to have a more competitive advantages. If not, we just pay the money and we have no effective And that's why we focus first it's services, because in Vietnam we don't have a good services with the e-commerce in the fashion field. And second, we build good good relationship with the supplier, but I think it's not very strong because maybe competitor can do it, but we just ask like additional point. And last thing is for now it's difficult in Vietnam because in Vietnam to return the item. Yeah, sometimes you just have a 3 day or 2 days in the fashion field, and we will have a client to have 1 month to return the item, and we think it's a 3 big different things we provide to customer. 2 big thing and 1 additional thing. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to share that for everybody. I think everybody lives online now. You're all working online. I'll share this file for you later. The idea of a keyword is because you are working online and you type things online, you search things online, all of those words, all of those keystrokes you make, that is recorded into the internet. That is big data. And whatever's the most frequent thing that you look for or the popular keyword you use, the internet remembers that. And so smart people have codes where they can find what is that keyword you're looking for. And same, it's not just you, it's everybody in the planet or everybody in your city. You can find what is the word that is most popularly looked for in the internet by people in your city or people in your country. So you should use those keywords when you're doing anything. Use them in the title, use them in your video, use them in your report, use them in your website, use them in your customer discussions, because when it goes online, if you are using those keywords, the internet will find your work first and put it at the top. And so other people will see it. If you only use words from your mind and write down what you think, that's only interesting to you. You should work with what other people care about also. And so this file that I'm showing you explains the importance of keywords. It shows how you can find what those are. And then there's many different steps. How you can find it. Step 1. Step 2, optimize a video, like how you can use it with a video. I've done teaching, for example, in parts of Africa, and I went, this is an interesting example. Let me just show you this. You guys are starting to talk about how I'm some special professor. Yes, I have a master's degrees and several different master's degrees and a PhD in international management, but that's not that important. I made a lot of mistakes. I went to a community in Africa to teach them how to start and develop entrepreneurial new business startups. And this first video with the check mark, it's the exact same video as the one on the right, but this is the first video I made. And it's got a lot of me swearing and saying, damn, I stepped in some poop or something like that. And it doesn't have extra nice titles and graphics. But because I used words that I thought were popular, just by chance, they matched certain keywords. The biggest slum in the world, or the poorest in the world, or time to act, that got, now it's almost more than 250,000 views versus the video that I paid somebody to develop and put graphics in, that only has 700 views. So just learn from your experience, and that's just optimize your video title. Don't use crazy words, use words that people will search for. And then number 3, optimize your tags, your content, ask people to comment and share, encourage people. So there's lots of things. I'll share this with you later. You guys can take a look at this, how to use it, how to grow with it. Make sure you understand how to promote wisely. Make sure you understand keywords. Next, the idea of operations, how you're going to manage. I've already showed you the idea of you can work online, you can get customers online, you can get people to help you from online. Be aware of those details. Related to that online work, it's not just the management team and the employees or the research development. Earlier this morning, somebody was talking to me about this, and they were saying, I heard that they were talking about how to find employees online, but also how to find money and how to find investors online, how to find financing online. So I wanted to point that out. The idea is crowdfunding. I talked quite a lot about Kickstarter. So Kickstarter shows many different activities. You can make a keyword type search and a video, and anybody in the world can see it and give you money for it. And so it's showing that some of them are getting, $2.3 million. This one here, they asked for money, but they got 4.8 times more money than they asked for. This one, the second one, got 2,800% funding. So there's lots of things that you can learn from, and that's just one, the Kickstarter.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yes.
So we have been in the class for almost 1 hour. So should we have a break? I think everybody wants to have a short break.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. I talk too much. I'm going to go through this, but have a longer break afterwards. So I'll be short. You guys can ask me questions during the break. Best Kickstarter, best crowdsourcing sites. Here are 7. Here is another link, alternatives to Kickstarter. So be aware of that. The idea of management operations, the idea of a Gantt chart, we're going to talk about a lot today. Financial analysis, we talked about the assets equal liabilities over the with the owner's equity. Make sure you're aware of that. The funding, we just talked about that. So we've gone through several main points. So we're going to have a break. After the break, I'm going to show you the real plans to go through. So yes, thank you very much, Tom, for telling me to shut up. Let's take a 10 or 12-minute break now. And since it's 56, we will come back at 12 minutes from now. Any questions before we stop and go have your coffee and things? But have your the best location you can manage and visibility, high traffic areas in front of you, convenient access. Some people say that customers will not walk upstairs. So make sure you consider the greatest locations. Next, greatest products. You can compete on many things. Walmart tries to become successful, and they tell people it's because they have the lowest prices. But I disagree. Walmart is not successful because they have the lowest prices. Walmart, in my opinion, is successful because they have the best operations management. They have the best distribution management. They have the best transportation and logistics. They can get the product from the field through companies to that store more efficiently than most other people. And they can keep the prices down. If you go direct to a farmer, you can buy it cheaper. But Walmart is able to change prices, change products, change suppliers very quickly, very easily. Why am I talking about this? Because usually the best products can have a higher price. If you're just regular or cheap quality, somebody else can be cheaper than you, and somebody else could be going out of business and just give it away for garbage for free. So you can't compete with that. It's better to try to be the best possible quality. If you are the best quality, you can raise the prices even more, which makes even more safety for your business. Next, friendly servers. Your staff are the keys to success. You have to have good people working with you, but it's very hard. You may need to interview hundreds of people, and maybe every 30 staff, you're only going to have one good worker, but keep that in mind and keep looking for good people until you find really good people, and then really try to take care of them. Next, the finest reputation. Be very protective of your reputation. Grow your reputation. Word of mouth advertising is very, very important, especially because everything goes online. Promote your community mission of charitable giving. It's not just the idea of promoting charitable, but if you're kind in your area where your customers are, those customers are going to see you're kind and they're going to be kind to you. So think of the big picture. And then the idea of how you're going to work with the company summary or the ownership or the startup requirements, the daily perk startups. What do you have planned for legal expenses, office expenses? If you have the drive-throughs, you're going to have drive-through laborers and drive-through financial payment expenses, even your vehicles and financing. There's a lot of things to think about. Write these things down. This is in your PPT. You can copy this as a shell, copy this as titles, and you fill in new details that match your business if you want. More details about the startup funding. The idea of your assets, your liabilities, your owner's expenses, you're starting with a loss. How are you going to deal with that? Make sure that you have planned for your financing very carefully. You're going to focus, this company focuses on very specific customers. Several of you, I heard, your businesses, you said you're going to focus on kids. Well, that's nice. It's nice to like kids, but it's not good for business. I'm not saying kids are bad for business. I'm saying your focus should be better. Your focus should be more specific. Try to understand who are the best possible customers that can help you be successful and grow them very much. Does anybody know the 80-20 rule? Can I get somebody to, can you explain what is the 80-20 rule?
I just can give the example, like just like 20% of your customer will give you 80% revenue, something like that.
Right. So if you just target kids and you target all kids, maybe you're going to get my kids, and maybe your kids are good, your customers are going to be really shitty kids or shitty customers. You should not be general. Are you going to target rich kids or poor kids or fat kids or tall kids or kids going to church or kids going swimming lessons? Be very specific about who is your perfect top 20% of the possible customers. The 80-20 rule, you get 80% benefit from just 20% of possible customers. So focus on those 20%. And if you get somebody else, great, but don't waste your time trying to plan to make those other people happy. Just try to focus on making that top 20% happy. That 80-20 rule. Again, focus on those details. The market analysis, it's very important to have a, first of all, it's important. Do you guys understand what I mean by don't be general with your targeting of customers and follow the 80-20 rule? Can I get somebody else to summarize what we just said? That's really important. Anybody volunteer to explain that?
Can I call someone?
Sure.
So can I have Linh Chuông? Chuông Linh. Chuông Linh, are you there?
Next.
Ngọc Phan ạ. Miss Ngọc ạ.
Yes.
Maria, yes, please.
Can you try
Can you summarize about the rule 80-20, what the professor just mentioned in the class?
Some people were saying they're going to target all people in our city. or we're going to target kids. That's very general. I was saying you need to have very specific target customer and follow the 80-20 rule. What does that mean to you?
So it means that we need to have this focus on the specific customer who can bring that 80% the revenue for the company. Maybe they just have the 20 customer, but they can bring the 80% for your revenue for the company. And besides of that, we can have that 80 they can make the profit from the 80 customer, but it's just contribute for the 20% for the revenue. So when we categorize the customers, so we need to know that which one we need to focus on the most and to make more profit from that specific customer.
Right. For example, I'm not sure which business plan idea was yours yet, but I heard that somebody was interested in developing a Burger King.
Yep.
And if you want to sell burgers or sandwiches or water, I don't know if you can see in the picture, water, everybody needs to eat, everybody needs to drink. Why don't you try to sell to everybody? It's because a lot of people will waste your time. A lot of people will come in and ask a lot of questions, taking your time, but then they're going to find out it's too expensive, and then they're going to get angry and say bad things about you. It's too angry, you're too greedy, it's too bad, and walk out, and you have no benefit. Maybe you lose business because they may promote you as being bad. So try to target people that can afford you and want to try something new, not a traditional banh mi or something.
Yeah.
So be very, very specific. Next, after you get the whole market and only the top 20% will give you 80% benefit, you have those 20%, try to find who is the best inside there, and then who's the best inside there. Keep going for who's the best, who's the best, who's the best to target. You don't have to say no to the others, but the more you are focused on the people that give you the most benefit, the better. For example, other people said they wanted to have a bar or some other types of restaurant. Again, everybody in the world can eat. Everybody in the world can drink. Some people can have a birthday party and come in and spend $100 on a birthday party or $1,000 on a birthday party. Should you target those people, or do you target the maybe boring guy that comes in every day for a couple of drinks after work? If you think about it, every day, 365 days, times a few drinks after work, times 3 drinks is much more business than $100 or $1,000. So identifying which one is best for you is kind of important. For this cafe, hopefully everybody thinks about this. And just for a cafe, they are trying to analyze the public schools around them, the private schools around them, the college campuses around, the golf courses around. So far, all of those are identifying where are students that might not want a lunch, where are the people going out in the morning, staying out and need some sort of lunch. And they're probably also targeting maybe the wealthier people, like private schools are probably wealthier, golf courses are probably wealthier. Identify where are the people that could want your services, and you have to locate yourself in that area, target that area. Next, the marketing segmentation strategy. We've already started talking about that. Make sure you're very, very specific about that 80-20 rule. The industry analysis. Know what is the average price. know what is the normal marketing, know what is the normal services. If you are doing something different than other people, some people may complain. Are you ready for those complaints? Are you able to say it is because you're teaching a different culture? Make sure you're aware of what the competition is, and most importantly, understand your customer. Before you started, they were working with some other competitor. You're not creating a new life. People already did it. They're already living, and you are just helping them do it better. So why is your customer going to stop doing what they were doing for 10 years and start changing to come to you? What is that competition's buying pattern, and how are you going to manage that? What are the strategies and implementations of different projects? Today, we're going to go through the PPT, and we're going to talk about all the different processes to make your product or to make your service, and then how you can list those details. And that's usually breaking down your ideas into step by step. Step 1, you need to do this. Step 2, step 3, step 4. Step 2 needs to be before step 5, but after step 6, something crazy like that. So check the details, whether it's your product or service or process. And of course, you must have a competitive edge. Let's do a test. I already started asking you guys about competitive advantage. And I showed you a report from Harvard Business School that the most famous guy for competitive advantage said you have to have these things to be competitive. What did I say? Who talked about those details? I don't care about the name, but I care. Make sure you know what are competitive advantage areas. What is your competitive edge? You guys remember those details? Anybody want to help?
Porters.
Yes, Michael Porter, exactly. So up at the very beginning, what we're talking about, the idea you have competition from new companies or new entrants. You have competition from the buyers, the bargaining power of buyers. You have competition from substitute products. As I said, almost all of you, you're not creating something new. There are other substitutes or competitors out there. You also have competition from the suppliers, and you have competition from the rivalry among existing competitors. So make sure you're aware of all of those. It's pretty important. We are on slide 54. So next, the idea of management and operations. This is a little bit old, but it's still very, very important. How are you going to manage? Who's going to manage? How are you going to hire people? How are you going to deal with continuously hiring people? The world has changed. I think everybody knows you have to have management, you have to have workers, you have to train them. That has not changed. You have to have a plan for it. But I have been trying to say 2 new ideas. Does anybody remember one of those 2 ideas I said you should be aware of when you're making your management plan, personnel plan, operations plan? Anybody remember what I was saying? Can you work there forever? That's a hint. You should not work there forever. Where can you get people? Most companies usually think of getting people to work in their location. That has changed recently. What did I say related to that? How about
Nguyễn, are you there?
no? What about An-min? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm over here.
Can you remember what are those 2 main things I was talking about for management and personnel planning?
Firstly, that I remember that to management is more efficiency that should be hiring the person in the location. Like it's very saving the cost and more than the external human resource. Secondly, the cost benefits.
those are important things to think about. But when I was talking about these things, I was saying with coronavirus and in 2021, 2022, the world is changing a lot. There's a few changes that are good to think about. Some of the things to think about, I'll just flash them to you right at the end, I believe. Trying to find, I've got so many slides for 36 hours.
The pesto one, Doctor?
This one, the idea of you can hire people online to work for you. When was the last time you thought of hiring somebody in Brazil or hiring somebody in Kenya or hiring somebody in France to help you? You should. Do not just think of hiring somebody in Ho Chi Minh or Hanoi. The world is open and online, and everybody is able to interact online now. Get the best person for the best price. You could get cheaper people to help you from India, or cheaper people to help you from Kenya or Nepal. I believe the costs of programmers and web developers and editors in Nepal is half the price or a quarter of the price here. So think of those things, working online. The other thing I was saying is when you're developing your personnel plan and your management plan, plan so that you don't work it. Try to make a system that will be able to work on its own. Hopefully that's kind of understand. So that idea for the personnel plan it's hopefully you will continue thinking about those things. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, we've already talked about the locations. Try to get the best location. Don't waste money, but get a location that your customers are going to be very comfortable with. You don't have to show off and waste money, but make sure that you're accessible, easily accessible to customers, and that your sales will be able to pay for that location. Next, the idea of your financial plan. Again, as we talked about playing for details, make sure you think about the financials. Even though you've never sold anything before, you have to pretend that if you do sell it, for example, with a bar, have you thought about how you're only getting maybe 50 cents profit from each drink? So how many drinks do you have to sell to pay for your rent? How many drinks do you have to sell before somebody gets drunk and vomits or makes a problem? So start comparing all of those details. Start thinking of the details in detail and be realistic. The break-even point, you start by making a loss, generally losing money, and you can make a profit after time, only after time. That is an old concept. It's not always true. Nowadays, the world has changed. You don't have to lose a lot of money to start a new business. Have any of you read the book, The 4-Hour Workweek? Any of you are aware of that?
No.
The 4-Hour Workweek, let me see if I can show a picture of it.
Not yet.
Anyway, it's a book by Timothy Ferriss. It's written about how you can work on, anyway, Tom, if you can find the pictures in my slides for the 4-Hour Workweek, find that, or a Google presentation of it, or the Amazon introduction, that would be good. What 4-Hour Workweek says is that you should be able to not just think of a business and make a business plan, but he says you should be able to make a business that might be able to start making a profit in 6 months. He says, if you can't, you are not in the modern world. Many people say, what are you talking about? It takes me 2 years to do the construction for my new building, or it takes me 2 years to make my manufacturing facility. And he says, forgive my language, but bullshit. You don't have to have your own manufacturing to do things yourself. You can find manufacturers and factories anywhere in the world that can make your product for you. You can make a website for free, for example, in Facebook, and start advertising your product in Facebook, get customers to place a deposit, use the deposit and send that to the factory to get something made, and the factory can send directly to the customer. It doesn't cost you anything. So with modern technology, that book by Timothy Ferriss called The 4-Hour Workweek gives you many examples of how you can work efficiently online. It also talks about how you can hire a financial accountant in India, or he has a lot of people working for him from Argentina because he's an American guy in the United States, and Argentina is the same time zone. So it's no problem them waking up the same time, working for the customers the same time that he's working. But he makes a lot of his product in Mexico or in China, and he sends it, but it costs him nothing to do these things. So the idea of your break-even analysis, where you start by making a loss, by losing money, make sure you're thinking of the modern details. Sometimes you can use technology and it costs you nothing. Next, obviously you need to show financial details. What is your profit and loss for your first year, your second year, your third year, your cash flow statements. And with your pro forma profit and loss or your income statement, you need to have your sales and then your expenses and then your profit at the bottom. A lot of people say that taxes are terrible and taxes are going to kill me. I'm really curious why the heck people are really worried about it. Because if you do have sales, that's the only thing that you can't really change. Your expenses, you can always change that. If you have your sales and then expenses, and then there's a lot of money left over and the government might make you pay tax, just take some of that money and spend it on more supplies for next year, or hiring new people, or giving new bonuses to make things bigger or better or more efficient, so that you can always control your financial details, but still look into the details. Generally, the sales minus your costs of your products or your goods sold and your expenses of your payroll, sales, marketing expenses, depreciation, usually it doesn't change very much. But you being the owner, you can modify those details. You can hire new people if you see that you're growing. You shouldn't be worried too much about taxes, but it should be clear in your financials when you send them to the UK once we're finished. This is just showing more details of your cash flow statements, more details of your balance sheet. The idea of in your first year, you don't have very much. Your second year, you're going from 97,000 up to 433,000. And in your third year, you're 1.4 million. So you can't just start with millions of dollars right at the beginning. You need to generally grow. Depending on what your product is, be reasonable. If you're not reasonable, you can't get investors and you're not going to be starting very well. So a lot of people care very much about the business ratios, whether your earnings ratios, your standard industry classification ratios. That's not usually too important, and I don't think the assessors in the UK will be looking for that, but the more you know about these things, the better. Let's take a look at another thing, your exit strategy. One of the things that I do believe that they look at is, what is your plan to finish? When will you finish? When will you sell the business or quit the business or work with somebody else if things are going well? Same thing if things are not going well. Some people make a mistake and they only plan for the good times. Well, what if your partners have an argument with you? Or what if you have an accident and you're making a bicycle repair store? Try to think about how you're going to deal with not only the good things, but how you're going to deal with the accidents or problems going forward. And of course, sales forecasts, you need to have the realistic details. You can see here is you start from zero at the beginning because nobody knows of you, and you might have a little bit after a few months, and then you might get a little bit more after several more months, and then a little bit more after maybe the end of the year. That's realistic. Personnel plan, same thing. The first month, maybe you only need to hire one person. Maybe after 3 months later, you can hire another person. And then another month, you can hire another person. You don't need to hire 100 people all at once. But it depends. Are you worried about somebody else coming in and stealing your new idea and your new business? Do you have intellectual property or patents on your details? If you don't, and somebody else can steal your idea, then you may need to have more financing to start quickly to get up to speed to protect yourself from other competitors. If you're not too worried about people stealing your ideas or taking your business, you could start slower and more carefully. Same thing for the income statement. We've already talked about the income statement. Your sales minus your expenses equals your net profit. Usually you start with 0 and you slowly grow, as this says. Month 1, 0. Month 2, 0. 3, 0. The next month, you have like a minus 9% net profit. And then you have 2% you're growing, 8% growing. You know, it's not always smooth. It's going to go up and down. It's realistic. Think about those details. The more details you have, the better. Cash flow statements, the same thing. Balance sheet, the same thing. Usually business plans are 15 to 25 pages. Any more than that, and it's not going to be used. Any shorter, and you're going to be missing things. So our assignment is very short and very simple, but you should plan, if you're serious, if you really want to do it, get extra information and just focus on maybe your 20 slides will be your core or the most important information, but you have the keywords or links to something else in an appendix that will explain in more details if they need it. For example, I was showing the idea of how you can work online, how you can work with Instagram. And you can just say, you know, promote an Instagram, 2 words, promote Instagram. That's 2 words, but you can link to this file that teaches you how to do it. Or this file here, which teaches you how to use good keywords. And this is 27 different points on how to use the proper keywords. You can just link to those details. So other than that, we've gone through quite a bit. We've had a bit of a break before. As far as I understand, it's time for lunch break. After lunch break, you guys have homework to share. I'm going to be talking much less, and you guys are going to be talking more. Again, what I want you guys to be talking about the most is basically the second last page of this. Is that correct, Dong? That's one of our plans?
Yes, exactly. So after our break, so we're gonna start with just sharing about the Shark Tank video, and we would love to discuss about that and hope to learn from you.
So since we've talked about it before, you're all in 6 different groups. One group should watch this video and talk with your group mates. Make sure you understand it. If you don't like that video, you can find another one. And I can show you many. Just do a Google search for Shark Tank and it will show you hundreds or thousands. Find one example and just learn the basic details and think about it in as much detail as you can so you can present that to the class. This afternoon, the job is for you to present this business to the class, and the class needs to evaluate it like we are investors. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm quite concerned about the market segmentation, something about the market study. We have to put the reference inside the information provided, right?
The more references you have, the more reliable your information, the more believable you are. What is the alternative? Well, the alternative is if you just think something's good in your heart or in your stomach or in your brain, the investor is going to say, well, I think differently, you're crazy, you don't get any investment. If you say, some other famous people say this is the detail, and I agree, the investor is likely to agree with you too. So use references to support as much as possible. Don't just rely on your own feelings.
I see. For our group, I did the direct interview with our agents, travel agent, because it will be the B2B business. And how do we reference that?
Record it. You're interviewing people. Write down what you said in the interview, and
Yes.
show. You don't need to show in your business plan, but you can say we had, 50 different interviews, and they're all written down, or we tape recorded the details. They're in our appendix.
Yes. Okay.
And
So
if the interviewer asks, you can look. Okay, appendix number 7 shows. Here's the response they said in the interview.
okay. So we should put something like the primary research. So
It could be primary or secondary research. Just
I got
the
it.
more, don't rely on your memory. Don't rely on, I think it's good. Don't rely on just your gut feeling.
It should be mainly from the interviews we will interview several agents to find out the market.
Well, not necessarily. Maybe you don't trust the travel agents. You can talk to Vietnam National Tourism or immigration. How many people are coming in and out? And the idea, we are in 2021, 2022. You know that Facebook, I think, doesn't exist anymore. Facebook has now become a new company called Meta. You understand why? Because Facebook believes people are now living online. Maybe you can make an online tourist company. Why not? So many kids are doing the virtual reality. You could do a virtual reality tour. So you don't have to just talk to old-fashioned travel agents, right? Open your mind, stretch your mind, think of new possibilities.
I see. Okay.
Anybody else ready to have a McDonald's? The Burger King people are supposed to be fighting me. Have a good lunch, guys.
Thank you. So we can
Thank you,
only take 2 hours break.
You guys still agree? You want the 2-hour lunchtime?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I heard 3 sold. I will see you back here in 2 hours. Have a good day.
Thank you, doctor.
Bye-bye.
See you in 2 hours.